It's 7:12 p.m. and this is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Branford Ways and Means Committee, and we're going to call the roll. So Kevin Healy is unfortunately not here. Chris Hines? Here on the phone. So Chris is calling in. Chris Sullivan is unfortunately not here. Elisa? Here, and John Hartwell is here. So we have three people of the committee, two from one party, one from the other. So we have a quorum. So the first item of note on the agenda is to consider and, if appropriate, approve a request from the town engineer to increase the appropriation for East Industrial Road from $1,750,000 to $3,800,000. And the resolution reads as a resolution amending resolution appropriating $1,750,000 for the reconstruction of East Industrial Road and authorizing the issue of $1,750,000 bonds of the town to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose, to increase the appropriation and bond authorization therein by an additional $2,050,000. And that's the end of the resolution, and to recommend the resolution for adoption by the representative town meeting. And we have with us tonight our first selectman, Josh Brooks. Mr. Brooks.
Hello. Basically, the idea behind this is that we have money from the federal government to do a portion of the road, but that only covers a portion of the work that we want to do. The base bid would basically cover the rebuilding of the road, but all along there was a plan to add some sidewalks, a crosswalk at where the truck stop parking lot is, and then we were originally we were going to add a mill and pave from, if you all know the section of road, but from where the off-ramp comes from 95 South, mill and pave up to just about the end of Ring's End, where the hill starts. But upon discussing it, the cost to, if we just mill and pave, it's belief that it'll fail in some years, 2-3 years. So adding, part of this request is that we would actually do a full replacement of that road, which is dig down to the dirt, replace all of the base, and then repave it. And then in theory, that would make that road viable for 40 years. And because you're already mobilized there and you have all of the apparatus in place as far as, a construction manager, engineering, and then the equipment itself, it would be cheaper to just do the full road in that section of road rather than just piecemeal it out, and then have to do it again in some years. So you're saving money by spending money in theory. So that is why that is that increase. As you know, this has been a project that's been ongoing for a number of years. The latest setback and what's kind of brought us to where we are is because in 2003, 2002, 2022, 2023, we contracted an engineer consulting to do the consulting work on this. That consulting firm became unresponsive, and we terminated the contract. So then kind of starting afresh from that in '24. And so now we are ready to go. We have, we have awarded the bid to a company who is, we think is the best company for this and is poised and ready to go. So in theory, if we were to authorize this on the 18th, they could be ready to go as early as May 1st. That's what we're hoping for. And then they have a full construction cycle to finish that.
Chris, can you mute your phone until you talk?
Oh, sorry about that.
Thank you. So, so this project started off at $1,750,000, and at that point, I think in 2019, that was intended to be what it cost the town, and we didn't have any support on that. And then subsequently, we got a grant from the federal government through Congresswoman Deloro, and so that was somewhere around 2022. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. And then, as you say, we had a glitch in terms of the construction management, and so we never actually initiated the project.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
And so, of course, in the meantime, the price has gone up.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. If we were to just mill and pave the second part of that road, we would save about $700,000.
Okay.
That is again when engineering approached me with that concept, I just didn't think that made a lot of sense for us. So it was my suggestion to them that we went ahead and did a full replacement of that other part of the road.
Which we have to do anyway in the main part of the road. And by the way, is that where Public Works will be located on that road?
Yes, the second part of the road is where Public Works would be located. They are between Rings End and the 56 off ramp. So that part of that road that we are replacing, Public Works would also be in, but that wasn't the motivation in this. But yes, that also is true.
Okay. How much is the grant that we got from the government?
$2.25 million.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that, please?
$2.25 million.
$2.25 million.
Right.
So was the original plan, you're saying you wanted to add sidewalks and crosswalks? Was that part of the original plan? Or you're adding that's part of the new now $2 million?
No, that was well, as I understand it, that was perhaps part of the original plan. Was to replace, no. The original plan was to replace the north side by Stop and Shop sidewalks, and we have since added replacing the sidewalks on the new sidewalk on the south side.
South side.
I believe was
That's
originally part of the plan.
Yeah. We last night, town engineer was in front of the Board of Finance, and he mentioned new sidewalk on the south side, making it easier for people who are using the truck stop, which is a very busy place, to actually come and walk to Stop and Shop or to the other amenities that are there. There's a
diner.
There's a diner, there's a beverage store. And also he added a really interesting crosswalk into the plan. That won't be a whole lot of money, but it's a good addition, so that when this all gets finished, people will be able to more safely cross the street.
And I know we've been talking a lot about safe streets and
Yes.
adding sidewalks. So adding the sidewalk and the crosswalk is part of, I guess, the overall plan.
Yeah.
But then, so the extra $2 million is really for digging up the whole street and starting, that's what the $2 million is for.
We always had to add in money. We would always, the minute we got the grant, we still would, that's how grants work. We have to do certain.
Right, but we already had authorized issues of 1.7 million. Now you're saying an additional 2 million. So we had already put
Right.
in, we're already gonna put in 1.7 million, right?
Okay.
I mean, I'm just asking why now you're asking for another 2 million? And is it only for the?
Because that's the cost to do the whole project. And the only cost I can save you is $800,000 by not tearing up the road between those two.
Do you know how much traffic there is on that street? Like how many cars are there?
Oh, I don't have that information. I mean, I know it's a lot of traffic.
There's an awful lot, all day, all night.
You know, you have the trucks.
Yeah, the truck stop.
The
truck
truck
stop.
stop brings in the.
Right. So you have the truck stop
Right.
and all traffic coming off 95 has to come off there from the south side.
Going south, right. And it's where Public Works is gonna be.
Well, but that's not the motivation.
So, okay.
Do you have any other questions?
Okay.
Chris, do you have any questions?
Just one, Josh. Who did you find? You said it was awarded already to a firm?
Correct.
Is that public knowledge or not?
Yeah, no, it's public knowledge. I believe it's Richards Corp.
Oh, okay. All right. Yep. Decent company.
Yeah, we had to waive the bid
Yeah.
because the low bidder, we had to waive the bid, but we ended up on
Yeah.
Richards Corp.
Not a problem. Fine with them.
Any other questions, Chris?
Nope.
Anything from the audience? Yes.
I do have a question. A couple of the questions I was going to pose, Representative Waterman inquired and they were addressed, but this is near the public, where the eventual public works project will be.
Yeah, no, I mean, the eventual public works, both right now where Public Works is and where they're going to move across the street are on that street.
Correct. And is it safe to presume that this project will improve the transportation needs and the traffic for the Public Works Department? I
Yes.
mean, it's heavily,
Yes, I mean,
it's heavily
yes,
traveled. And
yes.
that's their road, that's their access
Yeah,
road to their
yes.
facility.
Again, I want to be clear that this is a necessity and has been talked about for years, has nothing to do with that we are, as it turns coincidentally, moving our public works there. Because this was all sort of done before the decision to actually purchase that property. This was all moving this direction. You know, that actual purchase of that property did not come to fruition until November of last year. All of this was on that track long before then. Is it an added bonus for Public Works that's going to be there? Sure.
And the
Yes.
plan prior to your administration was to sort of piecemeal the work that we're talking about?
Well, the original plan before they got the grant was far less extensive. When they got the grant, they decided that they would go to that extra bit.
I think they also had to meet some more federal guidelines.
More
that-
federal
that-
guidelines
That weren't there
to-
before because
to
of the
get
When
grant.
did they get the grant?
Oh, jeez.
It was
2023?
Two, it says two?
22?
Yeah. It was through the Biden administration once,
Oh, infrastructure?
yeah, it was infrastructure.
And
It-
so after they got the grant, that this concept of doing it all as opposed to piecemeal was put into play. Why is it coming to us this time as opposed to?
Well,
earlier?
because you know, we just recently, because of the losing of one engineering firm, going to another engineering firm, the final package for DOT review was not submitted until the summer of 2025, so that in the fall is when DOT came back to us authorizing to move forward. And then we went out to bid on December 2nd. So bids came back January 12th. And so that's how we ended up here
And
now.
so there was a tad delay, to put it mildly, as a result of whatever problem.
The engineering issue,
Engineering
the
firm.
engineering firm made a delay, and then, because you're involving federal funds, there's a lot more work you have to do to satisfy those than if the town of Branford just said, we're gonna go rebuild that road and paid for it all out of our own money, it might happen a little faster, you have less hurdles to jump through. But because it's federal money and then the DOT, it changes sort of, there's a lot
Right.
more layers that you have to work through.
But a lot less cost to us. because
Oh
of
yeah,
grants.
absolutely, absolutely. It's half the cost to us.
So as someone who's lived through the complete reconstruction of a road, it's gonna be a long summer.
Well, they will have, once this contract is signed, you can quote me if you want, but I believe it's 240, 260 days with a winter shutdown. Traffic always has to be moving on that road, so
Yeah.
it will take longer. They cannot shut the whole road down. So they have 240 days, but with a winter shutdown of November 1st to March 31st. So they're not contractually obligated to work in that time. Now, if they do, great, they'll want to get the job done as fast as the next person because they'll have equipment tied up and money tied up into it. But, that's the contract of this thing. And it's the same thing that's going to happen with Main Street. They have 240 days, but November 1st to March 31st don't count in those days, so that'll be
It's a
how
major project that needs to get done, it's gonna take whatever time it's gonna have to take.
right.
But is there, as part of this, is there contractual obligations that when November 1st comes around, the road has to be in a way, like they can't leave, like they have to leave it in a place where it's usable?
I would assume that's in the contract. They can't just
Leave a hole?
It's normally in any state contract,
Right.
it's normally in any contract to have that happen.
and again, part of why we chose the path we did with the bid situation was because that would be a huge help to us using that contract.
And without knowing, being able to cite any statute or regulation or ordinance, or whatever, I think the answer to the question is yes.
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just asking, I
I
just,
mean, certainly think.
And
public safety
again-
can mandate that at some level.
And again, and I want to emphasize this, just because they can stop November 1st, it's basically if you have to buy a bond to do a job like this. And whatever that amount is, let's call it $1 million. If you fail to finish the job in the time frame that you are given, you could lose that bond. So November 1st just gives them the ability, if it snows and you can't work, or it's 12 degrees and you can't dig through that, we're not going to hold you accountable for that. But the reality is they will continue to work if they can. But there comes a point where they can't pave anymore, so we can't hold them to account if they finish on November 19th, but they have to finish paving and they can't because the temperature's too cold. Because that is
They're not gonna be told.
right. So, and you don't want them to. So then they would wait till sometimes the asphalt plants will close. They close based on temperature. I've been around at times when they actually didn't close till January 10th. But a lot of times it's much earlier. So that's why that language is built in. That doesn't mean they're going to not work. That just means they can't be held to account when their 240 days are up for those 4 months.
Any other questions? So, entertain a motion to approve this.
Entertain motions?
Elisa, Chris, are you
Second?
seconded? Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? No. Carries 3-0. Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the finance director for the following fiscal year 26 transfer to partially fund a new position in the finance department with particular emphasis on strengthening audit readiness, internal controls, and financial oversight. So from contingency account, $21,250, to regular wages and salaries, $20,923, and accrued payroll, $327. And we have with us the finance director. Welcome, Catherine.
Thank you. I know, right? So I'm not sure if either one of you remember, Jim had presented in last year's budget when he talked about our budget, I should say, he had posed the addition of a new position in our office. You know, someone to take that burden off. There is a lot of responsibilities for the assistant finance director's position, and there's not a lot of segregation of duties. We have a good internal control structure, but that segregation of duties, generally falls on the assistant finance director. So we had talked couple budget cycles with Jamie and Jim about adding this position. As you know, we've had struggles the last, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years with getting the audit done on time. And it's primarily, I wouldn't say primarily, there's a lot of areas of the audit, but the 2 areas that we've struggled with is the reconciliation of the tax office and of the Board of Education's records. We used to have an outside accountant that helped with the tax reconciliation. That is, that company or that firm no longer does that reconciliation. So it did fall on my position, my former position.
So did we pay for that out of consulting fees?
No, it gets charged to the audit because it was all audit work. So it was always part of that Board of Finance's audit budget line item.
Okay.
So without that piece, that help, it all did fall onto that position. So this position is, we did work a lot with developing a job description. So it's not just to reconcile the tax and the audit. There's a variety of things, but those timely reconciliations will help.
So what's the position called?
It's a senior accountant position. We worked, with Josh and Debbie, who is our new HR director. Diana. I just called her Debbie, I'm sorry. Please don't tell her that. We did just, we came up with a salary, a position, a job description. We approached the union. So I'm hoping with these funds, it is not a full year. We just are looking to fund it from April, May, and June.
Oh, okay.
It's a full-time job.
It is a full-time job.
So is this the full appropriation for that job for 3 months?
No, we decided not to. It is going to show higher in the budget for next year, that increase, but, contingency had been reduced from the budget process. So I just, we were just looking at 3 months.
So in your department, there's finance director, then assistant finance director, and then this would be a third, just to.
Right, so we have the finance director, the assistant finance director, this position, we have a head bookkeeper, we have a accounts payable clerk, and we have a purchasing clerk.
Okay, so. And this person would have a senior, like a accounting background.
Exactly. It's yes, an accounting background.
And so is there a way,
That's okay.
since a lot of this is the Board of Ed, they've got a lot of, in their budget, right, they've got accounting people and all of that, right? So can some of this go back onto them?
Well, they do participate in it. I think that, are you talking about charging the Board of Ed for part of the position, or their responsibility? Because they do
Their
have that
responsibility.
responsibility to reconcile their books, but it is the reconciliation between our, as a town, because we control their budget, and their detail, that takes a lot of reconciling, because they do in-house payroll. So, on the town side, we have an outside source. We do a third party. So, it just imports into our system. They have a lot of detailed transactions. So when something is off, whether they void a check, whether they get a deposit, any of those things all have to go back and forth between the town. We just have to do that reconciliation.
Are there, just going
Yeah.
forward, are there things going to be in place to try to smooth the record keeping between the
Yes,
schools?
yes,
And
yes, this-
so this isn't so, I know every year it's onerous on you and your department.
I will say, that wasn't always the case. They've gone through a lot of change over the last, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years. They've, whether it was finance directors, their business manager, they have a new superintendent. They had another finance director. I think they've gone through maybe 4 or 5 business managers. So it really, I don't want you to think that it's always been this way. We have really strengthened that communication between the Board of Education and the town, where I will say that that's come a long way. So there is a lot of collaboration, but it wasn't always this much of a burden. I think as people changed and job descriptions changed and financial systems changed, and just the accounting environment, or the audit environment, I should say, we need to increase with those as well, those demands. So
So will there be things in place to make it better, like once this person's, to help work with them, so that
yes,
it's
my
not-
hope is that it's timely. And I would love to say monthly, but things happen. But that is our goal, is that it's a very timely reconciliation, so that when year end comes, you have that where I can go back on our audit. Our audit schedule used to they used to come in September, October, but as the issues came up, it got pushed back further and further. Even with the tax system, you have hundreds of thousands of transactions that go through, and if there's a difference between what I show in the general ledger, it could literally be somebody that paid their taxes, it got applied to one tax bill, and it had to get transferred because you have to pay your oldest tax due first. That transaction, if it doesn't carry through, creates a reconciliation nightmare, because you have to go through a lot of transactions. So that is my hope, is that reconciliation of those 2 departments get done on a much more frequent basis.
Good. One more question?
Yep.
So I know, so will this then help? I know, like, the last couple of years, it's been like a nightmare, and it's put so much burden on you and so much overtime, having to work so much overtime. So is the hope with having this additional position, then the assistant finance director won't be spending nights and weekends?
Absolutely.
So that will reduce the
absolutely.
overtime.
Right. So in the budget for this year, you'll notice that there, I believe we budgeted $12,000 for overtime, and I think it is very minimal what we have spent. I mean, part of that is because my role changed. So, in my previous position, I got paid the overtime because I could not take the time off. It was counterintuitive. So, but that is the goal.
You worked really hard. I'm not trying to.
Yeah, no, I know you're not. It really is my hope that it not eliminate it, but I'd like to keep it in, not at 12. I was going to reduce it. I shouldn't say that on camera, but I'm going to reduce it a little bit. But it should reduce it, if not. Pardon?
Too late.
I know.
Okay, so.
I hope Jim's not watching, but I'm hoping to reduce it so that it goes back to a normal cycle.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'm just kind of seeing that funding the position then helps reduce
Exactly.
overtime
Exactly.
charges, so it's
Exactly.
net
It's
not as.
there was, regardless of people in positions. There was still a lot of responsibilities put on that position, whether it was me, the new person, and that's where, you know, the audit comments were, you know, you need to strengthen it, you need to get it back on track, the reconciliation needs to be done, but at the same time, you need to segregate some of those duties so that it's not one person doing all of that.
Good. Chris, do you have any questions?
No, I'm all set.
Good, thank you. So, I don't have any real questions, only just one request. But I think you've already covered it, but I'll just put it out there. We should be getting the audit done by the end of December every year.
Exactly. And, you know, it's funny because, well, okay, no, I'm not gonna say funny. I don't want to jinx myself on camera. That is the goal.
Of course.
You know, and we just need to get back on track.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's,
All right, can I have, oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Just very quickly, the help that Representative Waterman was saying, are we gonna get, that is the point of this position, is that
It is
correct?
completely the point.
That is there.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
correct, yeah.
And secondly, how many months, you're funding for 3 months this year, this request, how many months do you anticipate next year requesting, you said it would be?
It's gonna be a full-time
A full 12
position, yep,
month
full
job.
12 months.
That's what I thought.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
I want to make this very clear to the 4 people in this room. By approving this, you are basically, she doesn't know. You are basically authorizing hiring somebody that is now you're going to
Have to
pay,
fund next
you're
year.
going to have to fund in the
Yeah.
budget process. So the finance budget will go up a full position.
Yes.
That's anticipated by what she said, rather than
Yes.
not doing
Right.
that this now. but-
Yes.
Okay.
That was we kind of did a toss-up as to whether to fund it at the full amount this year. I just didn't feel it necessary. I think that leaving the funds in contingency when I wasn't going to use those funds, having the explanation that
Yeah.
my budget, you know, the finance budget isn't going to go up 3%, it's going to go up considerably more.
So, mentioning contingency,
Mm-hmm.
once we do this, what will be the balance in contingency?
365, I believe is what she said last night.
365?
I think it was
360.
365 or 360?
I thought it was 360 something.
I was hoping I brought it. Yep, I did, 325, 616.
325 out of 500, which is what the contingency budget was.
Yeah, it was just
Yes.
over 500.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
And that,
still like, well, and
And
so,
going forward, between now and the end of the year, do you
Mhm.
expect much more withdrawal on contingency?
I think that it's premature. I do know that, a couple departments have approached me. The police department has approached me that they might have to hit contingency. I believe Public Works will have to hit contingency.
GGB.
GGB,
Public
I'm
Works,
sorry,
both
GGB,
have.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be a draw, which is why I
Okay.
felt to keep it in there as much as we could.
I appreciate that. Okay, can I get a motion?
motion to approve the funding request from the finance director.
Second.
Thank you, Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? None? Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
Other business, there is the only one thing I want to say, and unfortunately he's not here tonight, but Jim Finch is finishing his time with the town. And personally, I just want to say that he taught me a lot and put up with a lot. And I'm grateful to have worked with him, and I am sorry to see him go. Happy to see you're in place, but sorry to see Jim go, but we all have to move on at some point, and he's doing that, so I know that this is going to be good for him, and you know, we'll just have to make do.
And kudos to Catherine, if I may add.
Absolutely.
I'm very
Yes.
excited for you in the position,
Thank
and
you.
I think you're well qualified.
Yeah.
Look forward to working with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, terrific. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Yes, Chris?
Second.
And we're out of here, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
No problem.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Chris. See ya.